Hello, fellas. How's it going, Nuggets? Tough Super Bowl loss. I feel your pain. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about none of that. What I want to discuss is the defensive back, cornerback, free safety situation. All right. The team seems pretty content with Dante Whitner. He seems to be the weakest link on defense. However, he just so happens to be a playmaker, and he does a good job of getting players in position. But we still have Trenton Robertson and Darcel McBath. I mean, we could have released these players at any time, but our coaching staff, our golden coaching staff, decided to hold on to these players. They went and signed Greg Dow. I mean, he started 16 games for the Rams last year. He came at a cheap price, and they still have C.J. Spillman and Michael Thomas. So those that's the depth chart right now as we speak today before the draft. And if we were to go in next season with that, I think that backfield is is that alone is still top 10 in the league. Just free safety and strong safety alone. You know, Dahl and Whitner. That's still top 10 in the league either way you look at it. Then you still have other options before you even look into the draft. Is my whole point. Um, Carlos Rogers had been long been talked about being moved to safety, even when they signed him. Um, with the addition of Namdi Amsuwa, um, I could very well see him being moved, if not Chris Culliver, who we all know was a safety in college. And my fear about Culliver being a safety in college was, I had a fear about, and we drafted him relatively early. I believe he was the third round, fourth at the latest. Out of South Carolina, and he comes in and he's a DB, and he's doing a phenomenal job. A few mistakes, but nothing major. But I mean, a few mistakes, few mental breakdowns or whatever. But for the most part, I mean, he got the interception in the Super Bowl. Chris Culliver, he's the real deal. He can start at cornerback on our team for every snap. So with Namdi starting that corner for a year, I can see Culliver. I mean, because we tendered Brock for another year, you know. So I can see Culliver very well easily um, going to safety as well. I know a lot of guys don't want to hear it, don't believe it, but I I think that would be awesome. It would be a benefit to have him at safety, especially if Brock is able to, bring half of what, a Brown or a Rogers is going to bring, or Amsawa is going to bring at the cornerback position. And all this is before we even draft a free safety or 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 DB, in a draft. So a lot of people think the Niners are going to go out and draft a free safety or a DB early in the draft, and I just feel like it's a situation that we're already deep at. Whereas if you take a look at nose tackle, well, there may be some issues there. I was never a big Glenn Dorsey guy. I thought he got over being next to what's his name with the fucking Lions, that cheating bastard. But whatever. He's on the line now, and hopefully, our coaching staff, who's obviously done a great job with our defensive linemen, can do some things with Glenn Dorsey to make him a consistent defensive force. Hopefully he can open up some holes for Navarre Bowman and Patrick Willis. But if not, we can address that in the draft. You know what I mean? We can trade some picks, move up, and address that real easy. And now you got depth, some serious depth at that position. You know, and that's awesome. I mean, Justin Smith's on his way out. Um, I don't know how you feel about Demarcus Dobbs replacing Justin Smith after he retires, but I think that might be something you might want to address as soon as possible. If it's up to me, even if it's grooming a player, you know, that's fine as well too. Um, so I mean, if you think about Justin Smith leaving and who we got on at defensive back and free safety and strong safety right now, and you think about not having Justin Smith, uh, start of the 2015 year, you know, hey, you're probably gonna wish you thought about that. You know what I mean? Um, before especially the defensive style that we run, before we end up in that scenario. I mean, we have to address the Justice Smith situation. You know, and that's just on the defensive end. You know, Ahmad Brooks. It'd be nice to maybe get a player to come in and help him out. Um, if they're available on the board. I mean, if somebody's available who they feel can be half as productive as Alden Smith is, that would be more productive than Ahmad Brooks. And, I could see them pulling the trigger on that before drafting the DB. Um, then you look over at the offensive end. I mean, two big issues here, guys. Okay, we got a lot of receivers going out. We got Manningham for 1 year and Bowden for 1 year. Doubt if we bring any of them back after that. I mean, all right, that's fine. So now you got Kyle Williams and A.J. Jenkins to replace those two guys after next. I'm just thinking about the future here, gentlemen. We want to win a Super Bowl next year, but we're already a Super Bowl caliber team. Is my point. So now I feel like we have to add to it and make sure that and I just feel like this is the role that the team is taking. You got to add to it and make sure you're built for the future, because when the Niners, if we win a Super Bowl, they're going to bring up the dynasty question. You want to be ready for that, because it's a different league now. Players. It's a 1 year. Teams are 1 year, built for 1 year, but we kept our core players in place, and so we got Michael Crabtree coming up. We got Colin Kaepernick. I mean, if Colin Kaepernick performs, if he gets better than what he's already done in his first 10 games as a starter, my goodness. He might be one of the, top 5 paid quarterbacks in the league. And right now we're at what, $2 million in cap space? I mean, this is something to think about. You know what I mean? He's gonna need an extension. So then you got Michael Crabtree, who's gonna be a free agent. The same Michael Crabtree who missed 3 camps. Now, once Michael Crabtree got on a winning team, it seems like, Michael Crabtree became, more of a professional, less of a prima donna, especially after seeing what happened with T.O. and Chad Johnson. The end result of being a prima donna. When you got players like the greatest of all time, Jerry Rice, who wasn't a prima donna, the greatest ever, and, can step in front of any camera he wants and say anything that he wants to say to anybody now. Jerry Rice used to be quiet. Now he speaks out openly. It can get away with it. You know what I mean? And Michael Crabtree has humbled down a lot, but when it comes to the money, I think the 49ers are probably going to want to give it to him if they can. But if not, then you might want to be prepared for that. And if you can address that in the draft, especially early, not even necessarily early, but within the top 3 picks, then I could see them going that route. So my point is, I think we're pretty stacked on defense. Tremaine Brock has been on the team for 3 years. This will be his 4th. This will be Parrish Cox's 2nd. I mean, Nnamdi's coming in. Carlos. I mean, I'm sure we will draft DB and safety. I'm sure we will. But I mean, I'm sure we'll get some talent for the future as well. Like as always, it's pretty deep at that position. So go Niners. Let's go get 6.